everybody, this is the Wikstrand and this is my 650th review that I've done on this little channel, and I'm going to celebrate this by tasting this little nice Geometrica white wine from Greece. But the movie that we are going to take a look at today has nothing to do with Greece, but it has everything to do with slicing people up with samurai swords and stuff like that. We are going to take a look at the 2003 Azumi, and I'm just gonna say to you, this was very nice. Tomiya Tonoshi. Well, thanks for those kind words, good sir. So, Azumi takes place in Japan, and there has just been a devastating war. And we have these two men who vows that war will be a thing of the past. They agree that they're going to work together to get rid of, war and havoc and discontent and all that stuff, by simply kill people who threatens the peace of the land. So one of them takes it upon himself to take these children and raise them and train them to become ruthless, cold-blooded assassins. They're doing this in a very remote locations, and these kids have never, been in the outside world, doesn't really know how the world really works. But I'm sure that, the meeting with the outside world won't be any problems whatsoever. No, wait, I am wrong. Anyway, so among these children who are on the verge of adulthood is, of course, our main character is Azumi. She and the other ones are very, very excited to go to the outside world and to complete these missions and prevent wars and stuff like that. Maybe they should have had another leader than what they're ending up having, because he might be a good teacher of the art of war and the art of fighting and swordplay and stuff like that, but as a leader he's terrible. He's woeful at his job, because he fails to explain to them why they are doing this. As Azumi says at one point in this movie, we kill people we don't hate, but we don't protect people who are in need. And after a few successful missions, they are, however, unsuccessful in killing a dude who is, this warlord wannabe, and they instead end up killing, his dummy, his stunt double, you could say. So he gets away, but he's very spooked by what happens. So, he decides to unleash this incredibly evil, psychotic, effeminate, white-clad lunatic who is going to hunt Azumi and her crew. They're, by the way, getting split up after a couple of more bad leadership. And now the question is, will they be able to fulfill this mission? Will this psychopath, kill all of them before they're able to fight back? Will Azumi bring peace to the land? Will she be able to live a normal, life? Will any of these kids be able to, grow to adulthood and actually, become something else than being child soldiers? That's basically what we're gonna find out in this movie. Now, if you like the sight of people getting sliced up with samurai swords and bleeding buckets, well, you've come to the right movie. If you don't like that, you may want to be happy that you skipped this one, because this movie is filled to the brims with awesome, cool fight sequences with lots of creativity to them, lots of great violence, and lots of creativity to the elements of violence that they introduce in this movie. But the real thing that really stands out for this movie, it is the very, very big gallery of characters we have. It's not just Azumi and her friends, the teacher and his friends, the warlord and his bunch of baddies, and the psycho. We also have those poor circus people who will unfortunately have some interactions with both Azumi and some other more unsettling characters. And all of these characters feels, you know, like real fleshed out three-dimensional characters. They actually have real character arcs to themselves. They are able to pack in 3 hours of plot into a, you know, barely 2-hour movie. Very, very impressive. And it is big and it is spectacular, especially the ending is incredibly epic with a 3-digit body count easily, and on top of that, a bunch of fantastic small little character moments that I really liked. When it comes to the villains, we have so many cool ass villains in this movie, not just, you know, our main villain, our white-clad maniac who overacts more than 500 William Shatters and 600 John Travoltas from Battlefield Earth. And we have a bunch of surprisingly really emotional sequences. Now this movie is based on a manga that I haven't read, but I'm sure that the hardcore fans of it have opinions about it, good or bad. And I have not at this point seen the sequel, which I've heard is a not as good movie as the first one, but maybe I'll do that someday and get back to you whether or not this is a good movie or not. I love this movie. I love this movie through and through. I watched it a couple of times and I always find something new and cool to discover. I actually think that this movie could have had a longer runtime, so we could have, you know, had more character moments, and that we could have had even more awesome and epic fightings, because it feels like they are rushing these things just a little bit. Now, the small complaints I have is more of a technical standpoint, because some of the editing in this movie is not the sharpest, and sometimes they're getting a little bit too fond of the cinematography gimmicks they're doing, you know, with the spin aroundy things and stuff like that. They're getting a little bit too fond of their own gimmick. But this is a really good Japanese movie, one of my favorite ones I've seen actually. Now, I don't know how good the acting is in this movie, but I believe these characters. I really believe them. And I think that that means that they actually pulled off some pretty good acting in this movie. If you've never seen Azumi, I really do recommend this. This is a fun, fast-paced, big, epic, sort of martial arts movie, sort of, with very compelling characters, an interesting story, a fascinating bunch of characters, and a very epic finale. If I can say another thing that wasn't great was the special effects. Some of the special effects in this movie are quite bad, but I am willing to overlook that and meet the filmmakers halfway and say that it wasn't good, but I'm willing to accept it. An engaging story, a big plot, nice cinematography, and as I said, very compelling characters makes Azumi one of my favorite Japanese movies of all time. I give this movie 96 points, and this is a movie that is almost tailor-made for me, and despite the fact that it sometimes can get a little bit one-dimensional at, you know, some point, because the entirety of the Japanese country seems to be exclusively inhabited by rape-happy perverts or bandits who just wants to pillage and burn and also rape a little bit. So couldn't we have had a little bit of a better mixture of good contra bad characters in this movie? I don't know, ancient time in Japan seems to be exclusively populated by either victims or perpetrators. Anyway, I think this movie is absolutely great, despite a few flaws, and I really recommend this movie. So have you seen Azumi? Comment below and I'll see you next time from, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.